This is the wrap-up for the live market open for March 31st, the end of the month, the end of the quarter, and the end of the fiscal year in Japan. Okay, we had significant events and also big moves, a busy day ahead today. The impact of Yellen's speech on Tuesday, extremely dovish, seeing the glass half empty, still has a devastating impact on the US dollar. Attempts to recover didn't really succeed so far. Additionally, we had a big wobble in oil prices. Crude oil inventories came out better than expected for oil. We had a big rush in oil prices, but the failure to reconquer $40 sent the price of oil way down below the previous lows. And that's quite interesting to watch. As I mentioned, we're at the end of the fiscal year in Japan, the end of the month, the end of the quarter. That means we have last-minute adjustments, and this is quite messy. Look out for erratic movements, for weird stuff, breaking perhaps technical lines at the end of the end of the European session, the London fix. Okay, so that could be quite messy. Will the dollar be saved from the last moves to correct the recent weakness? We'll learn that quite soon. It's a matter of hours. Yesterday's events, we had a better than expected German CPI. This implies better than expected Eurozone CPI today. ADP NFP came out slightly better than expected, but with the downwards revision for the previous month, basically does not change the expectations for the non-farm payrolls tomorrow. New Zealand and ANZ business confidence dropped just a bit to 3.2 points, allowing some profit taking on the Kiwi. And this morning, German retail sales were mixed, and Spanish CPI was disappointing. But I believe expectations are still higher than what we see on the calendars towards the Eurozone CPI. Okay, so we had also a speech by Mark Carney. I had high expectations for that, but he talked about financial stability, which is an important topic, but not market moving at this point. Just after the show, in less than 15 minutes, we have the German employment change. Another, or should I say more correctly, the unemployment change. We're expecting another drop in the number of unemployed in Europe's largest economy. And this should be, of course, good news in supporting the euro. At 8:30 GMT, we have a big bulk of UK figures, more important than Carney, apparently. Final GDP, no changes are expected. Any change in final GDP can rock the pound. Also note current account, and there are, of course, other figures. As always, expect front running of this event before, and but we'll really need to see all the figures, or most of them, coming out to one direction for a movement. Otherwise, it's going to be nothing at all. As I mentioned, at 9, a Eurozone CPI. We're expecting an improvement in any case, at least on the headline number, perhaps a return to 0% from deflation levels, and even better, core inflation is also expected to rise. Something that isn't here on the slide, at 11:30 GMT, we have the ECB meeting minutes. Usually it's not such a big market movers, but it's certainly interesting. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll see how divided the ECB was and how worried they are about deflation. At 12:30, like every Thursday, US jobless claims expected to remain low. Another very small hint for the NFP, but not as much as the ADP one. Remember, this time the non-farm payrolls comes on the first day of the month, this time April Fool's Day. So we don't have the full buildup. We don't have the ISM manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMIs. At 12:30, we also have the Canadian GDP figure, expected to show better growth in January than in December. Late at night, we have Bill Dudley speaking, one of the doves and one of the more important members of the Fed. He's number 3 at the Fed and has a permanent vote. Okay, let's see if he echoes Yellen's very dovish tone earlier this week. And at night, for those of you awake, we have key events. Well, I wrote that twice. Anyway, Japanese Tankan, manufacturing and non-manufacturing. Again, all the figures have to move in the same direction. We're expecting, in general, weaker manufacturing better services, and more importantly, this event, the Chinese PMIs, and more importantly, the independent Chinese Caixin PMI. Both of them are expected to rise just a bit, but remain in contraction territory. I expect an even better result because I think the mood is better in China. The mood about China is better also from the outside, but you never know. Anyway, if we have it falling under the round numbers, 49 in the official one and 48 in the unofficial one, we could have devastating an opportunity to take profits on the Aussie. Let's move to the charts, beginning from euro dollar, moving up just a bit during the show. Resistance, weak resistance 113.50, high resistance 113.75, support at 112.50. Quite a few events lined up for today in the Eurozone. Pound, dollar, quite stable. Fell from the highs, fell under this very strong separator of ranges, 143.65. Currently 142.80 is support, followed by 142.40 resistance, 143.65 and 144.40. Dollar yen after the end of fiscal year wobbles, stabilizing under above support at 112.20 after the false break, I would say, below this line. Resistance 112.80, really strong support at 111. Dollar CAD surprisingly strong. It took advantage of the rise in oil prices, but remained relatively strong when oil prices went south. Okay, if we have beat on Canadian GDP, we could have a move to the really, really strong support line of 128.30. Currently 129.30 is the immediate line of support. 130, 131.70 resistance. Aussie dollar stable in high range between 76 and 76.80. I would regard this move above 77 as false at the moment. 77.40 is the next line. Kiwi dollar hugging the 69 level as we speak. 69.70 is the next line of resistance. 68.20 is support. The Kiwi showing a lot of strength despite the fall in business confidence. Okay, and let's just take a quick look at oil. Oil continues sliding. I remain also bearish on oil. Okay, so we had 1 week of rise in inventories, but there's still just too much oil sloshing around. And we have that April 17th meeting between OPEC and non-OPEC members, and my expectations are quite low. Anyway, very busy day in markets today. And we have, of course, the non-farm payrolls tomorrow, which will draw a lot of attention. I will mention that tomorrow, of course, we'll do a full preview of the NFP, as usual. A preview of next week's events. And I also invite you to join the NFP coverage. It'll be published on FX Street. I think I'm going to take part in that. I'm sure I'm going to take part in that. I'm not sure about the exact hour. I think it's half an hour before the release. That means 12 GMT, but perhaps at 12:15 GMT anyway. Stay tuned. Valeria Bednarik, Adam Button, Dale Pinkard, Mauricio Carrillo. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Should be, we're going to analyze the charts, the data, and talk about the next moves in markets. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Thank you for, thank you very much, Adinda, for sharing the link for the, for the NFP coverage tomorrow. So you're all invited to join. And thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I wish you all a safe and successful trading day. Watch out for those end-of-month flows, end-of-quarter flows. And that's it. Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.